What's up, guys? Bear Game here, back with some more AFK Journey, and today we're going to see what one single copy can potentially do for somewhat of a newer account. So as you guys know, we don't really play our VN test server that we're on right now very often, more or less just to check out updates, see what type of heroes have. But even at this, they still are going to be getting that maximum buff right here, which is going to be pretty interesting how it works out. I'd like to see if she can survive at a single copy too. We are currently in the skyclops as far as formations go. Yeah, we're not really going to try to replicate that too much, I don't think. Although we do have the team for it, but you know, I guess we could just see if our current formation, our current account could duplicate this. We do have the support heroes. We have the Smoky Mirky. We have the Freesto. Let's see what happens. I don't necessarily think our Taylene is going to be able to do much because, again, our Taylene is a single copy. We don't have Mikola up to Mythic Plus or anything like that either, so there are some downsides to this. I think we can keep our Taylene going. I think. It looks like we can. She will still provide a lot of damage, and the cool thing with Taylene is even at a single copy, she does what you want her to do. She's doing that AoE damage, which is really, really cool. So I'm almost wondering what hero we substitute out here. I'm thinking what we're gonna have to do is drop either Taylene or Freesto here. I think Freesto, oddly enough, Freesto at a single copy is like still insanely good in the early game, as you guys can see, like really, really solid. But this is a good example of a very early game account, whether you should even go for it or not. If you're kind of pushing the end of season, this probably isn't going to be as much for you. Let's see what the overall damage was with a normal looking team right here. Yeah, Taylene wasn't providing all that much, so let's see what happens. Again, I think survivability might be a little bit of an issue for us. If anything, I think our team needs to be running someone like a Coco instead, and I'd really love to try adding her into this team as well. So essentially what we need to do is we need to have a hero in front and behind. So maybe something like this, because we're only running really one damage dealer in this setup with her. She does have AoE too. Like, all of her abilities are AoE, so she could be really good on the Skyclops. Hopefully we can keep her alive. That's going to be the biggest worry here, is she's in melee range and she's a single copy, so she's missing out on a ton of stats here. But I'm hoping with the damage reduction from our Coco, with the shield from her Mythic Plus, and of course she does have her, well, actually she doesn't have 20% leech because she's not Supreme Plus. I'm intrigued just to see how this turns out though. Lily May seems to be able to take care of those bat summons pretty decently herself. Not too bad. Again, it might be good for us to like throw in Taylene to do a direct comparison here, but survivability, she's doing pretty good. She's of course buffing a couple here. Well, she's only buffing one damage dealer, and that's Lily May right here. Survivability doesn't seem to be an issue in this situation, which is kind of cool. Question is the damage actually worth it at a single copy? We might need to retool this team a little bit more. Maybe having both Mikola and Smoky and Mirky is a little bit of an overkill at this point. We get to 42.79, which I don't think was a record. She doesn't really provide any damage at a single copy, which is a downside. Yeah, that was a little bit behind our previous team there. So I'm wondering if we drop off like a Mikola. Instead, we do something like that, and then we add in the Taylene back, something like this. We're giving buffs to both Taylene and Lily May in this situation. And again, as time goes on, those attack buffs will go up more and more. And I think Smoky and Mirky and Coco should be enough in this type of team to keep them going. And Taylene, of course, can help with that AoE damage. And Taylene is technically getting attack buffs from Sonja. So this is almost a good test to see if Sonja or Freesto is a better single copy support hero in this type of situation. So far the damage looks good, and if we're not going to die, I think we actually are going to break our record by quite a bit. I'm guessing we're going to be in the 55-56% damage range, unless it continues to ramp up, because like I said, every 6 seconds we're getting that stacking buff up to 6 times. So we should be at our max stacks on attack buffs here. Our heroes are still going. Again, I don't think Sonja is going to do that much by herself. We're at 40%. Actually, no, we really slowed down on the damage because it takes longer and longer to take out those waves. It actually looks like we were in a better spot running the Freesto, which is interesting. That's kind of crazy. So let's try this. Let's go back to this team right here. So we're going to use the endless version team real quick just to try to do some science-y type stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to put just the Smoky Mirky in. Oh man, actually, you know what? This is going to be tricky. You know what? I guess we could still try using her as a buffer instead of Mikola, essentially. So this is the only really downside with her positioning. Oh man, this sucks because she prioritizes the heroes in front and not the ones behind. You almost always want them behind. So what we have... Oh, this is weird. Because in order to get this to work, we'd have to put the heroes like this. But then this resonating spell is hitting her instead, which is not the best idea. I guess we could go for like arcane shards or something like that. Because again, we don't really care about her being immune or anything. She's really here for support. Yeah, that's the only really negative about that ability now that we jump into it and see what it's all about. Ooh, I don't know if I like it because it's always going to want to target those Freestos unless you do some weird stacking of Freestos, which is something you can always do too. But yeah, that's definitely not gonna work out in this situation. That's sad to see. So she's decent so far. Freesto is just that really special type of hero that I can't really tell if, like, because if we do this battle over and over with the normal, even endless version of this team, we're going to get really good damage numbers here. Well, I guess it's a lot of RNG because that time it was only 36%. I really want to just keep dropping Mikola, though, or something like this. And, you know, I guess we could technically see what she would do in this situation, where we can put you maybe here. We could stack it a little differently, and then we could still use this. That actually could work. Do we need the damage reduction on Lily May? I guess so. Let's just see what the damage looks like. We don't have to watch the entire battles. We can kind of just see how they are going to work. Because we have Smokey and Mikola, or sorry, and Coco, we shouldn't have survivability issues. 36. Nah, that's still not good enough survivability. It really isn't. Technically, it felt like it was better with the Mikola. But again, with such an early game account here, there's going to be tons of RNG involved. Again, I feel like this should be the best way to go. But maybe there's just a lot of RNG added in. I'm not really sure. As a single copy, I feel like there's... so you're basically considering this. Add a single copy. Like, is it worth pulling a single copy of this hero? If you already have heroes like Mikola built, if you already have heroes like Smokey and Murky built, if you have these support heroes already, I don't think a single copy of this hero is going to be very influential on your account. Granted, we're going to have to do a bunch of testing as it does come out on global, most likely on... oh man, it comes out on Thanksgiving. I don't know if I'm going to get a video out of her. We'll have to see. But if you're going to fully build her, I do think she will be worthwhile because I think she's going to actually provide a ton of damage on top of getting nice attack buffs on a couple of heroes. It is a little weird positioning her with Freesto, especially if you want that artifact on that backline hero and it's not going to be her. We'll just have to see how this actually works out. Single copy, she's okay. I'm not going to say she's busted or crazy or anything. I would hold your summons until we can do more testing. She does sound promising though, so... be ready. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'll see you guys next time.